was trying to, no, it doesn't, thank you. Let me know if you can hear me and or see me. Um, we were obviously having technical difficulties here. Um, we're trying to do this on or on YouTube so that we can also have it on Facebook for the people that like Facebook. But because Facebook doesn't allow us to save our videos and, search them later, months later, I'd really like to have a series that you can go back to when you have questions about things or if you've seen me do things before and you're like, oh, how did she do that? That is the goal of this. So I was doing some work down here and I thought I can just share my process because I know a lot of you are curious about that. And not that everybody does it the same. My process is mine. You'll have yours. And many other artists do things differently. But I thought I would share a little bit of how things happen here and at the moment, because things do change from piece to piece. But I am working on a new piece or about to work on a new piece, and I thought I'm going to share the beginnings of that. So if you happen to be watching, let me know. And or if you're watching the replay, let me know. I can't even see the whole screen. So yeah, it's kind of one of those tricky things here. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing or people are watching. I'm going to try and move my camera. So bear with me for a second as this gets possibly a little wobbly. Yeah. Here we go. And there we go. Oops. Is that going to be better there? So this piece, as many of you know, yes, I've cut off my head. I will show you this piece in a second in its entirety, but it is a punch needle project that I'm doing. It is a big piece for me, and size is all relative. And it is a fun piece, meaning that this is not meant to be a really hard, thought-provoking piece for me or for the viewer. And you'll know what I mean when I show you the pattern if you haven't seen it already. But I'm at that stage of color planning and getting on with it. This week and last week, I guess it's time rolls on. I realized I had a lot of procrastination around this piece and I had lots of thoughts about it. And to me, that is one of the beauties of this craft of rag making. It is such um, a slow process. We really do one loop at a time, whether we're punching or hooking. It is a really slow process. And so I get the opportunity to think about a lot of things. And sometimes, often for me, I feel like I can discover a lot about myself in those really quiet moments. And in community. So alone, I discover a lot of things. And then when I'm stuck on things in community, and for me, especially, it's the Creativity Club members who helped me the last couple of weeks on this particular piece. They helped me on other pieces, but this piece, especially, and it was to recognize I was procrastinating because I had feelings about what I should be doing, and should is such a big word for me. I have all kinds of reasons why I say it, and it's usually not helpful when it comes to art making, in my opinion or in my experience. And so I felt I should be using certain wools that I had initially purchased when I got this pattern. So I was feeling guilty that I couldn't make those specific colors and wools work in this. And then I was like, why should I? Couldn't I just use those for something else or give them to a friend who will be excited to use them when they're draining me? So that was one big should. Another should I be using the colors of the original one that I saw finished that I really liked? And again, that's not really helpful because I don't want to copy somebody else's work. And I love those colors, but I can love my colors as well. It's not an either or. So that should sort of knocked out the window. And then there was this should of I should have a whole plan. I should know what I'm doing so that when I start punching, I have every single color planned out, which never works for me. Even when I do color plan every color, I always change my mind at some point, if not at many points. So that should of planning it all out was a little ridiculous. And I should get started on it. So I'm going to show you what we're talking about if you haven't seen it. This is a McAdoo. Oh, this is going to wiggle, a McAdoo pattern. And for those of you not familiar with McAdoo, it is no longer in business as a company itself. It was for many, many, many years. And they made hundreds of patterns. And I'm not going to get my dates right, but Amy Oxford from the Oxford Company did purchase the McAdoo patterns because she got started as a puncher for the McAdoo family who made custom rugs and patterns and kits and everything way back. So this pattern is one of the McAdoo patterns. Oh, it is upside down already. Let's go this way. There we go. And it is a rooster in geraniums. That is what it is called. Rooster with geraniums, sorry. And it is 24 by 36. And it is a McAdoo pattern. I am the one that drew it. So if you see mistakes, it's not because they did. I was at the Oxford Company and had the I was grateful to get access to the patterns, and Amy Oxford, when I was taking course, allowed me to transfer the pattern. So if it is not done perfectly, because you see my little X's, that is on me, not on the Oxford Company. If you get one from them, it'll be perfect. So it's a big pattern, like I said, and it is fun. It is fun and it's silly, and I want it to be bright and playful. And although I love the original colors, I didn't actually remember what they were. So I did look it up recently, and I want to go much brighter, much more fun. And again, I had thought I would do it in rug yarn because that's what I had done other ones with. Excuse me, I'm going to have a drink. But I have decided I don't need to do it in just rug yarn. Even though it's a big pattern, even though it might be faster with rug yarn, I'm not in a rush. This might take me all year because I do lots of other projects in between. And it is just for me. It is just for the fun of it. So I have decided, again, with the encouragement of my club members, thank you. I'm going to do fine yarn, I'm going to do rug yarn, and I'm going to do sari silk because I love punching with all three of those. And if I need to, if I feel like the sari silk, because sometimes it works beautifully in a punch needle, in a regular punch needle, not the fines. If I find I'm struggling with it or it's just not behaving the way I want it to in a punch needle, I get out my hook and I can hook it as well into the same piece. You can combine rug hooking and punch needle in one piece if you want to. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've done. One of the things I knew when, and I've said this a few times, I want to go brighter. So the geraniums, for me, I think of geraniums as those fuchsia pink, you know, the ones that are like just hottest pink you can get. That is what I'm drawn to when I go to the garden center in the spring. I don't usually plant geraniums, but if I were to, and when I go to those, you know, in the spring, the big garden centers, I just admire those pink glowing geraniums or any of those beautiful flowers in the hot pink. So I am not holding back. I'm going all in with hot pink. So this is the fuchsia, what is it called? Violet Jane Fine, and it's called Party Pink, but it is basically a fuchsia, in my opinion. This is the Tea Party Violet Jane. I love it. It has a bit of orange and a lighter pink. They aren't a perfect match, but as we move forward, you'll notice I don't do perfect matches. And this is sari silk ribbon that I import from India, and it is just, I love it. And when I get to the punching of it, I will show you how I use it exactly in the punch needle. And so in this series, I'm going to show you step by step what I do. So I have some colors picked out. Will they be all the colors that end up in the rug? Probably not. Will I change my mind? Probably. And like I said, I'm doing both. So here's some greens I pulled out, some other greens. I have some that I've, skeins that are partially used already. I will combine all of those. I think if you saw on Facebook or follow me, I pulled out all my blues. I think I'm going to do a light blue background. So it's kind of like a sky background. And I pulled this one out as possibly the border, because there's a bit of a good 2-inch border around it. So it might be like an old wooden window, somebody suggested, kind of a frame. And then this is the background. So a hint of that. I'm not doing the grain of the wood per se. But those are the things I'm playing with. Now I'm just going to move those over a little bit, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see. I'm going to stretch my monk's cloth on here. Oh, these I have pulled out for the the terracotta pots. And I'm just making room, and I have my 20 by 30 frame. This is an old one. They do make them. I do sell them. But this was the original one I bought secondhand when I was doing my first certification. And I think it has something stuck in there that I want to get out before I put my monk's cloth on here. Oops. Here, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I have a needle here. Things get caught in here. We do have brush cleaners. Yep, I don't know what that was. Little piece of, I don't mind if it's thread, but that almost looked like it was a stone. And I do have my, we have our wood stove down here, so I was just getting that out. So as you can see, I have the gripper strip frame. I am going to have to move this pattern. I know that because this pattern is bigger than the, let's see if that's a better angle. This pattern is bigger than the frame. What I want to do is make sure that I do it as sort of minimally as I have to. So I'm carefully laying this out so that the edge, now that is going to be too close to those grippers. I'm going to have to move it down. I want my outer line to not be too close and leave lots of room because I still need to stretch the heck out of this. So I'm moving this back. And just from what you can see here, oh, maybe not. Let me move my camera for you. This is going to be the half that I will not fit. Now, I think I will just have to move it once, which is great because it's a bit of a pain, especially I don't want to get things caught in the grippers and pull out. So I always am sort of as conscious as I can to make that fit as fully without running into my side. So I think it'll be okay there. I'm going to go, this is the border I was talking about, which is almost a 2-inch border. And now we stretch. And because this is the shorter side, I am going to pull, well, shorter, I mean less monk's cloth over here. I am pulling it there. And as I pull, I want to make sure that my lines that are supposed to be straight or parallel stay straight and parallel. So here we go. I am just pulling gently, and I'm going to keep doing this all the way around for a while. People often wish like, oh, I'm done when I'm teaching a class, and are often quite shocked about how much more I can pull their monk's cloth. The base fabric here is 100% cotton monk's cloth, and I'm feeling it so that I know I haven't run into the wood edge of the frame, so that I can punch right to here without any issue. But I'm also wanting to get it close so that I can get as much to this side. So it's sort of both sides I want to be aware of. And this usually probably takes me, if I actually timed it, a good 10, 15 minutes. Maybe that's a little exaggeration, but I feel like it is one of those things that people underestimate how long. And now you can see I'm starting to use 2 hands. And let's see if I can show you exactly what I'm doing. So I hold it and pull and pull. And yes, your monk's cloth is going to pull. And we want that in the gripper strips. That is a sign that you're getting tight. It is not a sign of too tight yet. There is no such thing, first of all, as too tight. I've yet to run into anybody that does it too tight and it's a problem. I really, monk's cloth is made to be stretched and made to withhold the tension that this creates, and it will benefit your punching down the road. Unlike hooking, where when you're, traditionally hooking from the back, the tightness of the fabric is really a personal preference, how tight you'd like your backing. However, in punching, to get your loops even and to have nice consistency and just to make it easier on you, pulling your fabric tight is a necessity. And if you don't pull it tight, you will notice uneven loops. You might notice it's harder to push through when you're using your regular needles because you haven't fully stretched those little holes in the monk's cloth. And I'm just pulling back here. And again, every time it's normal that your lines sort of go a little wonky, so then you have to pull them back in place. There we go. So I'm still pulling, and it's moving about, let's see, maybe 1/4 of an inch each time. So it might not feel like much, but it is still stretching, and I'm going to keep going. So in these videos, my plan is to have you join me for about, 20 minutes, half an hour, if you wish. I will be here for that long, explaining whatever step I'm at and the process that I'm at. And you are welcome to ask questions. I don't think I'll be able to answer them live just yet because I'm on my own at the moment. But once I master, I might be able to have Dan help me so that he could read the questions and help you live. But I will always go back if there are comments and do my best to answer them, or I will answer them in the next live. So I will let you know if it's something I want to show you better than just write a comment. You can ask me and I will make a note to give a more complete answer. So here we go. It is getting tighter. See, it's barely moving now, but not quite. It's still probably when I do this, and again, it is a workout for your hands. It's moving about 1/8 of an inch. So we went from 1/4 to 1/8, getting much better, but not done. And get right into the corners. One of the beauties of these Oxford frames is you have the grippers right to the corner as much as you can, or as much as they can to when they build them. And that helps keep your corners from getting, a loop in them here. Because if your grippers stopped back here, it would be it'd be impossible to get that corner as tight as I am and to keep that 90-degree corner there, which is what we want. And yeah, see, I make mistakes and I will just punch over them. Not a big deal. This is a bit of a workout too, which, we do a lot of sitting, and people often say, or, physiotherapists, I'm sure, would tell us we should be getting up. So this is my little workout before I sit and get to the punching part. And this part is a bit trickier because you have all this excess, but I'm just going to keep pulling. And my monk's cloth is really starting to show in the grippers, which is fine. You can pull here. See, that's getting much tighter. I was hoping I would get all of his hair in here. This little comb, I guess it is, because he has a pretty wild hairdo, but I don't think it is possible. This part I'm going to have to punch in the second half, and that's okay. It is still moving, so I'm going to keep pulling until I basically cannot pull any more. And there's some of these spots that are getting to that, which is great. And now I'm probably down to 1/16 of an inch of movement, or what's after that? A tiny little movement. And still going over here to get that corner nice and 90 degrees. And this is a point, if you get given a pattern, or if you found one in your stash, or if you drew it yourself, whatever, and you do want a rectangular shape or square shape that you have straight lines, this is the time to notice as well, did you draw it, or was it drawn right in the ditch, as we call it, which just means in between the warp threads, or the weft threads, depending on how it is, but in the warp and the weft, meaning in between, perfectly straight line. And it's not to mean your pattern is a major, problem if it's not, but now's the time to fix it. So you can either take a Sharpie and redraw it in the ditch, or when you're punching, just be conscious. I really sort of follow that line visually. I think I did a pretty good job here. I think it is fully in the ditch, and I think any movement is more the movement of the monk's cloth right now. But you can adjust it, and nobody will know if you followed the lines perfectly. So yeah, it's better to have that in the square and same down here, same here. Because then when you take it off, your rug is going to be square. And when you do your hem is going to be square. I think we've got it. So see, this is me pushing, and there's a slight little bounce because it is a big frame. This is a 20 by 30. But it is going to punch beautifully. And I'm so excited. This is where I get really excited for the next stages and where I get to really test if the colors are working for me or not. I'm confident with my pinks. I'm just not confident with everything else, and that is okay. It's perfectly fine to just go for it. And that's what I was reminded this week by my friends, my hooking friends, was don't overthink it and just start punching. Because that is the joy of it, really, is figuring it out. It is not having all the answers. It's figuring out, seeing them to come together. And it's, I am so, so grateful. I obviously have so many yarns to choose from. And if you're wondering or need help with colors, I'm happy to do that. Keeping in mind that I don't believe there is a one way to do anything, and that colors truly behave differently next to each other. So once we start to see them in a rug, they can behave differently. So even the best laid plans, even the ones you think I have, spent time on this, I've worked it out, the proximity to another color and the size of each of those colors. So if you have a small something, it might be fine. When it gets to be like a background, you're like, all of a sudden, I don't like that color anymore. So it is nothing wrong with you or your abilities to or knowledge of color theory. It is just a reality that colors behave differently next to different colors, and that the quantity of that color, the saturation also, all of those things can affect one another. And it is part of the beauty of it. It's part of the excitement of it in my case, and part of the ongoing never-ending learning that we can get from rug hooking and punch needle, that I love so much. I will never be bored. So I have half of them. I have his face on there, so I can get in his wonderful eye and beak and face. I can do my geranium. I can do a good part of the leaves. I can do some of the border, but I will do the border last because I'm not sure about it. And I'm going to do what I know. What I really want to work is those pinks and then the greens and his face. Those to me are going to be the priorities. And the others will be sort of experimented as I go along. And what else do I want to share? I want to share my next steps before I start punching is I'm going to get some of these ready because I don't like it like this. I don't know how this happened, but I don't like my skein looking like this. This is not good. I'm going to turn these into cakes. I'm going to wind them up. I'm going to, I actually cut these, but I will show you how I do that when I get to the cutting of them, because they have seams in them anyway. So I'm going to make some cakes of the yarns that I know I'm going to use, and then I will get punching, and I will be back next week. My goal is every Friday to do a live video of where this is at. So I will update you. And again, feel free to ask questions if you have them, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everybody.